if you have some luxury, not taking on some crummy freelance and doing things like this, that feels better. That feels like you're getting a step closer to where you're going. Here,
Hello.
then
Hey, nice to
I
see you.
will. I will.
Yeah, it's wonderful to meet you. I've been watching like a lot of the I've been watching the past interviews too to sort of like
Oh, cool.
yeah, just like gauge and see like how to go about this. But yeah, it's been really fun. It's been really nice to see other people also talk about their experiences, and that's also been like it's been really nice to see. So yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad because you reviewed I sent your book around, everyone checked it out. And I kind of got the gist, but like I don't know, pepper me with questions. Like,
Yeah, I think even in the email, I think the primary thing that I don't know, I'm just like struggling with how I would like to like talk about myself because I realize I just feel like I feel like I'm in a tricky place where I don't know, I'm reaching out to all these studios and I'm trying to like convince them that, you know, like take a look at my work. I have the potential to be a good fit for your studio. I know that the things that I'm working on, like how I approach things, would really work well with your system and also the way that you all are working. And I kind of want to put that across. Um, I know that the work can speak for itself. I know that the work can back what I'm saying. And I want that to come across in the way that I'm even talking about my work. So I think primarily that's where I'm just trying to navigate that honestly, because I think with the work I've shown it to people, they have good reactions, they have positive reactions to it. But I'm just trying to figure out like how do I talk about the work? How do I, show it? Like it's just that. I think that's where I'm also like trying to figure out how do I do that, especially in a industry where it's absolutely like saturated. How does me talking about my work make it stand out from the rest?
yeah, cool. Yeah, it's saturated. And I was talking with Amanda, our ops director, who does, we kind of just have an open um, role at all times, just to meet people and see like whoever's kind of looking. And we're just constantly meeting with new people, see talent,
Yeah.
whatever. But she told me yesterday that it's been up for like a month or two and 400 people applied. And like, I didn't know 400 people even knew who we were, to be honest. So I underestimated, and even like, in the previous talking to previous people, I underestimated how saturated this truly is.
Yeah.
Um, so it's rough out there.
Yeah.
I like really get it now. And that's just us. So that's a good example though. So like going into this, knowing that basically Tavern, who yes, we have big clients and we've done things, but like we're not, Brian Collins must get 100, 200 times that many, right? That's how saturated this is,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's good to say out loud to be like, wow, it truly is saturated. It's not just like people belly aching on LinkedIn being like, no one gets back to me. It's like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, there's a lot of people in this industry. That's okay, I think, but it's good to know. So, and it's good to know because I think what you're asking for is like, how do you break through then?
Yeah.
Your LinkedIn game is strong because I see we're you're on my algorithm, you're liking my stuff and Tavern stuff, and like you're in the mix. So I think that that's great, and that's kind of always the feedback is like you got to be doing that, which
Yeah.
sucks because it's just another piece of social media, but
Yeah.
part of the game for sure. But I think doing something different, like if what you're saying, treat it like a design project or a branding project. What you're saying is, I'm gonna speak. If I can convince people like my book, people are responding well, but I'm not getting anything out of it. Obviously, that nothing's coming out of it because there it is saturated. I mean, like just candidly, like we're if we need to add someone, it takes a long time. We go through 1 million people, and it's not kind of like a new crop of students graduated and we just scoop up a few of them. Other
Yeah.
bigger agencies do that. They used to. I don't know. It depends year to year, like what the market's doing, and if that's the case, right? Like at Design Bridge, we used to do that all the time and just grab a crop of students. And I know in London, historically, they would do that all of the time, and they get like big swaths of students.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not happening this year, just because of the world that we live in right now,
Yeah.
economically at least. it doesn't make sense for a lot of these places. So that's harder. So it's not as easy. And then, so how do you, knowing that you're competing with a bunch of people, knowing that you're competing with new students and stuff too, and I know you just graduated from MICA.
Yeah.
So you're in that crop.
Yeah.
How do you do something different? The best idea I heard was Jose did a video, which reach out to him. I don't know if he wants anyone to know this, but like reach out to him and ask him for that video and see if he'll send it to you. It was very, very good. It was just a good video, and I think it was like so different and so specific to like, I'm blowing up his spot, but he's like, this is who I am. These are the places and things I like. This is why I like you. And then, you know, talked about his work and stuff like that. And there's a really nice narrative, and there's motion involved, and all the tricks and bells and whistles really made it really nice. But he broke through in a way that like, oh, I'm going to sit and listen to you. So I think that like coming up with ideas like that are really strong. Make a video. Pick 1 to 3 places that you really, really want to go to, and you really want to convince them.
Yep.
And your version of making a video, some way to like do something different that everyone else is doing. Everyone is sending in the resume to a system. They often goes to a system, and just so everyone knows, it doesn't just go to a system. 400 emails go directly to Amanda, who runs operations for us, and she personally reads them all, which we've seen some gnarly comments back. Not that you're doing this, but like we've seen some gnarly fucking comments that I'm not happy about. Just knowing, this is not for you, but this is for everyone. If you do get rejected from a place, you're going to if you send an email, people will read that email. And you probably won't ever get a job anywhere close in that network ever again if it's rude. So this is my soapbox for Amanda. Don't stop sending Amanda rude emails. But you're applying online, so you're sending in your resume blind. Maybe it'll be read, but like that's like needle in a haystack at this point, given market. Then you're following up with people on LinkedIn, which is really strong. You're following up with people else and the other people in the studio. The middleweight junior designers or the account person or the strategist or whatever. I think that's like the next step that's really strong. That can only, and that's good advice. That's the advice I've been giving. You kind of need to break through yet again, right? Think about it like a brand. If you're starting a new alcohol brand or whatever, you can go to you can put your product on the shelf, you can go to the store, and you can even make some posters on the outside of the store. But like, are you really driving people to go buy that, or are you just putting it on the shelf and hoping someone will pick it up? That's not going, you're not going to be the next Budweiser if you do that, right? So you need to do something different. I think the video is really nice because it's personalized. I also think like in this, I'm just spitballing ideas here. I think you're going to have to throw a bunch of shit at the wall. But I think in the age, I just listened to a Stephen Bartlett, Simon Sinek, Diary of a CEO. I'm not finished it, but literally this morning. And they were, and it started with AI. Everyone was talking about AI, whatever. But they were saying like, Stephen Bartlett was even like, his buddy was sending emails, and he's like, you didn't write this. We're friends. Like, we're actual friends. We're not like business partners or anything. I can tell you don't use these words. So I think like use the AI to your advantage, but like and they were talking about, there's something like really nice about the spelling errors or like the imperfectness of it. The they got really heady and wabi-sabi of it all, but like don't do that. Make sure everything's spelled correctly. Right. But there is something cool about like the personal touch, like it came from the human. I'm like going out of my way. So like Jose's video was hyper personalized. It was speaking directly to the one individual where he was trying to get that job at. That's kind of what you got to do. And it's a lot more fucking work. But there's something really nice about that when it's like, at that point, if you were to send that to me, I feel guilty now. You like kind of made, like, I treat it like a gift, right? Like you essentially made me a gift. You care so much. And it's like, I'm going to be like, fuck this guy. no, I can't. I just can't, right?
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some horrible people will, but everyone's designers who like making things that you're sending this to. So I doubt that they're going to be like, well, fuck this guy. He spent all this time making me a personalized thing of sorts. I'm just
Yeah.
going to ignore him. So I think just figuring out how to do it differently. This is not new. I mean, I feel like, and people can chime in because I'm blanking on them, but like, I think in JKR, someone delivered their resume in a Dunkin' Donuts box. Like they walked in and said, "Hey, I have a delivery from Dunkin' Donuts," and like they like opened it and there's a resume in there. I don't recommend doing
I love it.
that. I love it in theory, but like in person, you're gonna be like, oh, fuck.
Just a thought on a piece of paper.
I think so. I'm so sorry, whoever did that. I don't remember if they even hired them or not, but it like that shit. An old creative director of Design Bridge, Claire Parker, she wanted to go to Singapore way back. She wanted to go to Singapore and work somewhere, and she made, and this was like pre-computer, so it was like she made like the portfolio case that was in like an actual case, and she designed the stickers that go on the outside of it, and like it was this whole little package, and she mailed the whole suitcase, with the travel stickers or whatever, and to the creative director in Singapore, and that's how she got the job. It's like just something different, right? But it took a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
You needed more money back then. Now it's like you make a video, it costs you, I don't know, a day's worth of your time.
Yeah.
And After Effects or Premiere or even Movie Maker, iMac, Movie Maker, whatever the fuck. Back then it's like more money. So like breaking through the silence, right? That's just, and I think just by showing that, you know that you can help the brands that you're working on at that place to go do that. So I don't know. Do you have ideas? I don't have ideas on what to do. I feel like there's so many of those of like, I dressed up like a delivery guy and dropped off my resume. Like not cheese ball shit like that. I think it's a little much. You're gonna be like, oh, this guy.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, if you're trying to get spirits work, you would probably make your own like whiskey and send that like
Or your own beer,
or beer. Yeah,
like the tavern beer, right? Like if you,
yeah.
but I like that, the whiskey.
Newspaper photos are cool. And it's like you could get like a pulled out like portfolio, and it's like a really nice package.
That's really nice. We'll send you that link. You have it pulled up.
Yeah.
I think like ideas that cater towards like the people that you're trying to do and the work that they do. I think there's a lot of ideas in there that we're just thinking of right now.
We should be thinking of better ideas for. But yeah, something different. I like the newspaper club one because you can, newspaper club, you can do your whole portfolio. It shows editorial layout, which I feel like you were doing some of recently with your the last 3 months or something.
I have. Yeah.
So perfect way to display everything you learned in the last 3 months. Also, it's a way to write a little longer form and convey your ideas, which is what you said you wanted to be doing more of, is like really telling how you speak about the work or whatever. It's a perfect kind of format.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It's fun. Who doesn't want like a big piece of newspaper, like ephemera? Every design.
You get I think you get the baby like yellow or the salmon color like paper, which is like really cool.
Yeah, like the shittier old like.
Yeah. I think I'm actually gonna look into it because that actually sounds very interesting. So I'm definitely gonna look into it.
Totally. Yeah. It's a fun project either way, right? Like
absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. And I think another question that I had is I'm sure that you've come across a lot of like younger designers or even designers a little more older who have had like non-traditional experiences. People who haven't really like had an education in the design industry or maybe are self-taught. And I'm wondering, in your interactions with them, what are qualities that have stood out to you that, really made you feel like, or maybe when you've like thought about it later, you're like, okay, yeah, like this person had like these qualities that helped them succeed. So I'm just like wondering, because I studied engineering and transitioned into this. So I'm just wondering about that.
Totally. I don't think you need a formal education at all. The misnomer. The one thing is just keenness. Just like willing to learn, willing to be in it. I've said this many times, and I feel like this is the ultimate takeaway, is like, you just really, 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 really gotta like this, or else it's not for you.
Yeah.
And that's not speaking to you at all. It's just like in general, like you really, really have to like it.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And you have to
Yeah.
want to do it, and you want to keep doing it and keep doing it, even if it's not working, whatever. If you're just and it's like, no, you don't need a traditional education, but yes, you need to like a thirst to learn. I mean, and that goes to the practice thing that we always talk about, but like just learning in general, and I'm not talking programs, I just mean everything. Learning any type of way of doing something differently, learning from other people that you work with, whatever. So like, no, formal education, it's
Yeah.
helpful sometimes. I think it's hurtful sometimes. It depends on where and who taught you. I think you can learn. I think you learn the most in college, and this has been true. I was speaking with someone else who is a teacher in Canada, and she's been teaching for like 10 years. But she was saying the same thing, is we learned, like in university, we learned the most from our peers, which I
Yeah.
do think is mostly true. And I think that's true for a lot of people. And I think that translates then into the workforce, where in a studio, you learn the most from the people on your team, kind of just the people on your team. I would say even like the adjacent teams, you don't really, because you're in the mix with those people. So it's really crucial to be on a good team. And Kevin and I were talking about this right before this call. It's like, you just need one good person in the studio to kind of like bounce and vibe with, and you start to learn and you can get really good. Whether that be a creative director or even just like another designer that's equal level to you,
Yeah.
or strategist, right? Like, or I would even go as far as an account person. When I was at QCM, I had a really wonderful account team when I was working on Hendrix. Claire McKenna, purely accounts. She transitioned to like, I think, strategy and maybe copywriting or something. I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in a long time, but that vibe just made the work better, even though those are two conflicting different roles. So like, it only takes one person. I'm on a tear. What was the question?
It was just like that, like just figuring out, like, I think, what qualities do you feel like made certain people in those non-traditional backgrounds succeed, and just like,
Yes.
I think what I should be like also trying to inculcate myself.
Work ethic is all it comes down to. And I mean, you clearly have it. The way that you're speaking, the work, just getting on a call like this, like just a keenness and a work ethic is going to go so far. And constantly bringing that to work, to the studio every day I'd rather have that in someone than a good designer who is annoying or like won't listen or doesn't want to work and thinks like, nope, I made it. It looks good. I'm the best. Fuck off. Right. Like, it's just so much more pleasant. I think everyone in the studio can speak to that. Like, as someone has an idea and everyone's like, fuck yeah, let's do it this way and whatever, and like gets excited by it, is a lot more fun. And it makes the work better, but a lot more fun than someone who's like, I made this thing, like I'm going home now. It's the work ethic in the junior, and I see that in juniors too. I believe that the studio, and like good proper teams, and this translates, can get someone who maybe isn't that skilled, but has a thirst or want for that to be better, to the right place, versus just getting the, hot shot, top of the class person. Maybe they're both great, but like, I don't see it as a negative coming, switching career, being more junior, or, not having formal education. I don't think that is hurting anyone. I think I think if you have a good work ethic, you will fit into a team and into a studio, if they're good, to get you up to speed and get you to the right place. But I place all of the value, I like, the education and stuff, like formal education, whatever, formal internships or whatever. Scratch that. Formal education and whatnot is not important, but I do think a really good job at a good studio, on a good team, is extremely important because that is your education. And
Yeah.
I do think that's kind of your education forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as you keep progressing,
Yeah.
you should go to multiple studios. You should bounce around because, with due time, right? Not every 3 months, but you should do that just to learn, because I do think that that's ultimately like the better form of education that will really tangibly help you day to day.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And that's also something that I guess I'm trying to practice more, where obviously right now I'm still in the initial stages of like reaching out to places and just like, I think honestly figuring that out. So I mean, calls like this are definitely helping. And yeah, I think my questions were definitely like just in and around that range, because it's just like figuring out right now, just and yeah, I'm just like even curious like to hear like everyone maybe else's story in the studio. Do you feel like there are any interesting ones where there is something that I could honestly learn and take away, just like in terms of that, like just like starting out, like how do I like, because I am sort of trying to find like freelance jobs at the minute, trying to find something that can get me like just going and just like trying to make those connections. And I think that's another question I wanted to ask, especially when I am trying to make those connections, and for the first time I'm like working on client projects, trying to understand things from a client's perspective. For people who are like junior designers still trying to start, is there any advice you would give like for people who are just starting and just trying to like just getting into that space of like working on actual client projects? Any things that I should keep in mind?
Yeah, I was very bad at this early in my career, where I would do tons of freelance, and it was mostly shitty, because it's just like it's shittier for no money, or most of the time when clients have $500, which is like the projects I was doing, it would go rounds and rounds, and they were very unhappy. And I was also working at a day job in a studio, so like I know what's right, and I should know how to talk to the client, and yet I can't. I think it's very helpful to be talking to the clients and to be taking on those jobs, whether you have a full-time job or not, because you know how to start talking to people. I think I was pretty fucking bad at talking to clients. I was very much the designer I was talking about that I don't want to hire on a team. That's like, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm the designer, you hired me, fuck off. I learned the hard way through some rough clients very early on to basically can't do that. You need to be a good person. Not that I was bad or inappropriate. It's just like, I'm not the expert that you're paying me. This is your baby still, even though it's for less money. So I think it's good to kind of go through the motion of freelance and like really learn that client relationship stuff. Again, you will learn that eventually over time at a studio, when you're seeing how accounts really work with clients and how you have to tailor your approach and talk to them and create for them. I think it's just a crash course, and it's more reps. So I think do the freelance just, yes, to make money. Young, I know you switched careers, so you're not, fresh out of college, but fresh out into the world in your 20s, like everyone needs a few more bucks. I think everyone in general right now needs a few more bucks at all times, right? So like definitely for some money. But I think learning from the experience of like, it's not just for the money, it's also for just the reps of talking to clients and doing different things. It's most likely not going to be the most fun work. Sometimes it's really fun. And I say, if you have a really great day job that you're learning and you're getting paid super well at, only take the fun stuff. Only take the tote bag, like Vin. Only take the t-shirt from Only, or the tote bag design, or like the bar up the street. The fun thing that like you're gonna have a creative outlet that's going to build some skills, different skills that you're not necessarily doing 24/7. But early on, like you, I think just take a bunch of it so that don't let it affect your day job, and don't let it affect your personal life too much. Like you don't need to be working 20 hours on shitty freelance every night, right? You should be doing a cool freelance, and then that's a different story. Then fuck your friends. But if it's cool, if it's sick, it's like a t-shirt for Only, like we don't have to go to the bar tonight.
The t-shirt, and it looks amazing. I appreciate it. I appreciate the rambling. So please, like,
totally. All right, real quick, because I do want to answer some of the questions that you had in the email to me. I know you want to talk about your work. You want to be showing people like why you made those decisions, all of it, which is great. What do you specifically want to be doing? If you had to niche yourself down, we niched ourselves down into food, bev, and alcohol and sports, a lot of packaging, a lot of strategy. You seem to, at least what you've been doing recently, seems to be more editorial. Do you want to go down the editorial realm? Do you want to be in, Kevin was also saying, like, it feels like you'd be really good at some exhibition and museum style design. I don't know, just from the work we saw very quickly.
Yeah.
What do you like doing? Do you want to focus on anything? And also, where are you applying? Because I think that, like, all of this will matter. I think we need to get a little tighter, and that might make it easier to then go back to the beginning of this conversation to make specialized pieces just for a few folks.
Yeah. I think personally, where I want my practice to end up is in identity and editorial work for predominantly like institutions like museums, cultural institutions, clubs, pretty much everything in pop culture. I really like film. I love making posters for films. So that's also something that I'm trying to do more of.
That lends itself nicely to museum and exhibition design.
And I'm trying to take on more of those things. Like I think there's a theater in New York called The Spectacle. It's a fan-run theater. So they have an open call every month for volunteers to contribute poster work. So I'm taking that up. I created one for a documentary about pro bowling that's happening this month. It's called like A League of Ordinary Gentlemen. So I created something for it, and I'm trying to do that more. So I kind of want to create the work.
That feels better than freelance.
Yeah.
Because that is getting closer to a thing that you want to be doing.
Yeah.
So I take back all those comments, unless you need to make money, which is totally fair. Again, we all do. But if you have some luxury of like not taking on some crummy freelance and doing things like this, that feels better because that feels like you're getting a step closer to where you're going. I cut you off though. Keep going.
Yeah, and also just like so that's predominantly where I want to end up. And I realized that the work that I've even been making and even the kind of like topics that I've been choosing, because I think with grad school, I think that's one of the good things where you get to choose the kind of like brands that you want to work on. It's a little, I've been trying to make it like even reflect the kind of like upbringing that I've had. I think one of the grad school projects that I got a fun chance to work on was like actually rebranding a Catholic church, which is not something that you see a lot of, because that's also what I was even looking at even the references, like even the places that I've rebranded in terms of like a graphic design sense were always like Episcopalian or Presbyterian or never Catholic. So that's been kind of like a project I'm working on the case study for. It's somewhere there in the website where it's just like, like a title coming soon. I've been trying to do stuff like that reflects like my own personal upbringing and just stuff like that. So I'm kind of like even trying to push that. So even there, I'm trying to really like up the game and just like try to showcase a sense that, not everyone might do this kind of project. So that's also something that I'm trying to even show in the work. And so predominantly, institutions, people, spaces that are in culture, music, film, pop culture. That's predominantly like where my interests are and where I want to end up working in identity and editorial work.
Awesome. I think focus there then. Like really, where are you applying? Are you applying to places that specifically do this?
Kind of. I think it's a little more wider now. I think for the most part, at least the last month, I've pretty much been casting my net all over. But right now I'm going to try and focus on this, narrowing it down. I'm just trying to keep a balance between because I'm also an international student and there's a whole other set of things that come with it. I'm also trying to do the freelance work to kind of stop like a clock that is there for us. So the freelance work is, I'm banking on that for like some security so that I can focus on actually applying to these studios like wholeheartedly and put my full attention towards it.
Cool. And I think you could do, I mean, you've graduated at this point, right?
Yeah.
Semester's over. Yeah, it's June. Yes, you have all day. So yeah, you can absolutely take freelance since you don't have a full-time job. A lot of that was like when you get a full-time job and then the freelance on top of it was the guidance there. So yes, take as much as you can, definitely, to support yourself. And you won't have a problem, I'm sure, even finding or doing that. It just won't be necessarily exactly what you want. So definitely do that, grind it out. But you could spend a good chunk of your day still applying. So that's perfect. And then I do think, yes, casting a wide net is good. But from what I'm seeing, at least this week in the market, it's bugged. So maybe, do it if it's easy, but focus. Narrow, and focus. Go only to places that do institutions and exhibition design and start there.
Yep.
The best to the worst. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters if like they're the worst exhibition designer in Baltimore or wherever are you staying in Baltimore?
Right now, in Baltimore.
Okay, cool. If it's the worst one, it doesn't matter. Just getting something first, and then you can get something and hop, right? But like getting in there, seeing if that's truly what you want to be doing. I also think the if we're talking about institutions or exhibitions, just the net, just super narrow it. I think Vin's idea of the newspaper club is perfect, right? Because that feels like a large leaflet that you would get at a art exhibit, where it's like a big poster or whatever with the information in the back, or it feels like a pamphlet, but like a bigger, more interesting, different approach to like how you would do a pamphlet in I don't know, an institution of sorts. It is editorial in nature. It just feels like a cool output of what those places are and what the projects you would be working on at those places would be. So doing that, I do think I have full confidence that if you figure out every single one in Baltimore and surrounding areas, right? I would expand the search just to cover your ass a little bit, but DC, whatever. DC has a million of those types of places. Right? It feels a little, so it's close enough. Cast the net there and then shove those out to people. And then what's cool about the newspaper one is I think you can just probably put a sticker on it and mail it as is, which is kind of cool. I'm sorry, but put a sticker to close it and then mail it, right?
That's what I'm saying. Or get like a little cellophane, like translucent one, like
like a poly bag.
Like print out some like circle stickers, put it all over it. Make it like a thing, like a little package. Super thin, easy to ship out. Yeah.
It's gonna cost you. The stamp's gonna be probably the most expensive part of it.
It's a cool way to make like high volume, and you can send it to 100 studios and just like have fun with it.
And that'll pay later too. So I always go back to I think it was Mikey Burton, who's an illustrator from Philly area and Midwest maybe. No, was it him? I don't know. Someone told me that they were like hardcore old school illustrator, and in illustration class 10, 15 years ago, and way before, all you did was make a postcard with like your best illustration on it. And you'd send that postcard to every single art director at every single magazine. And that's how they chose work, because they just be seeing volume. And this is kind of pre-internet, but then post-internet, or with the internet, they still did it. I mean, we even were told to do it in college. And someone sent a postcard to the art director at the Times. And 9 years later, literally 9 years later, called and said, "Hey, we got an illustration for you." And the guy had it pinned on his in his office on his corkboard for 9 years, looking at it for 9 years straight. And then finally something came up that was perfect. So like all of this that you're doing now, direct mailer type work, which direct mailer in the age of AI and the internet feels right. Feels like the complete opposite of what you should be doing. Who knows where that's going to lead you 9 years from now. It's kind of cool, right? So it's all of this is worth the long-term investment. And then I do think what's cool about this is if you do the newspaper, you can personalize each one of them. You can handwrite a note that slides into the inside. You can like circle the one thing and like really big over top of like your one project in the middle is like, I think this project makes the most sense for your studio. It just feels, again, it's like the imperfection. It feels like real and like you took the time to like think through this and deliver it just for them. So everything can be personalized from there. So you are systematizing it, which you got to do. You got to cast your 100 of them as a wide ass net. but then personalizing, the really strong ones that you care so much about. And then, hand deliver the 3. Pick the 3 studios that you really want. Treat it like college. The place you really want to go, the place you can get into, no problem, and then your real safety school, right? Like community college.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because you went to MICA. The community college is your safety there. If you can get into MICA, you're going to get into community college, right? So, and then treat it that way. And then those are your 3 that you really focus on, whether you make an insert to it or in addition to it, a video, whatever. I don't know. Think through these ideas too. These are off the cuff ideas. They could be so strong. Basically, all you want to do is disrupt. You just want to disrupt the way that everyone else is applying.
Yeah, I get that. Absolutely.
And I think what's really smart is, and this was your idea, was disrupt how everyone's doing everything. But in doing so, you want to convey what you believe your work is and how you describe your work and how you talk about your work, which is extremely valuable. I think that you going in with that insight is the idea. All I'm doing is giving you ideas on how to hopefully package it and get it to like break the wall of like, look at me.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that.
Sick. Send us one.
I will, absolutely. But yeah, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah, if I have some more questions, I'll just, I hope I can do that.
Yeah, anytime.